I've always really been a fan of Nippon Ichi's style. They always manage to produce cute looking characters and stories that feel more unique than the typical kind of Japanese RPG where an ancient evil has awoken and a young man teams up with his childhood friend and budding love interest to go on an adventure. Yeah, that type of story is not really typical for Nippon Ichi's games. And that also holds true for Pucelle Tactics for the PlayStation 2. I mean, sure, there are ancient evils lurking in the bushes, but from the outset of the game you play as Priya and her little brother Culotte, who were both orphaned at a young age and are now demon hunters in training at the Church of the Holy Maiden. Now, while Priya has the hopes of becoming the next Maiden of Light who will restore balance to light and darkness, she doesn't really seem like she wants to put a lot of effort into it. And that instantly makes her more interesting than your generic sort of JRPG hero.
I have had enough! I can't stand it! Why do I have to waste my time fighting zombies? They are such wimps! What if my clothes get dirty? They were just washed!
Stop talking like that! Father Salat is right. We're new at this, so we've got to start small and then move on to tougher enemies. Remember, 2 days in a row, you let a ghost get away because you wandered off on your own. Besides, I'm the one who has to do all the laundry.
First things first, Pucelle Tactics is an absolutely stunning game. The character artist had a habit of drawing his characters at a very low resolution and then upscaling them, adding a sort of blur effect, where I really would have preferred to see the super crisp pixels. But it meshes well with the painted backgrounds, which looks amazing. Everything from the cities you walk around in to the battle scenes, they all look great.
Why, you! That was scary!
Unfortunately, where these games always sort of break for me is in the gameplay itself. See, I'm a simple man, so I like simple strategy games. I like games like XCOM, Valkyria Chronicles, Fire Emblem, but Nippon Ichi's games are very much for the hardcore strategy gamer. You know, the kind of person who are into hours and hours of grinding to improve your characters and stats. Pucelle Tactics start out simple enough, being a sort of isometric strategy game like Final Fantasy Tactics, where you just walk up to people and attack them. But there's this whole purification mechanic, which quickly gets very elaborate. First of all, purification is used to recruit enemies, and once they're on your side you need to outfit them with equipment and bring them into battle so they can level up. And once they're leveled up, you can sell them to an agent of the underworld, who in turn will level up the weapons they were carrying and return them to you, so you become strong enough to go out and purify even stronger enemies and repeat the whole process over again. So it sort of becomes leveling upon leveling upon leveling. Another way to level up your equipment is to try and purify dark portals, which are these multicolored squares appearing around the map. Now what you want to try and do is to try and guide their energy into a square around the enemies, because if they get shaped into a square that is of a certain size, then a special spell will be cast depending on the color of the squares, which will affect all the enemies caught within the area. Now the enemy AI isn't so aggressive that they come after you before you're getting close to them, but it is a bit frustrating when they finally do come after you and end up misdirecting the energy all over the place. The amount of foresight you need and the amount of time it takes to set up the attack can really test your patience unless you're really into these kinds of games.
Quiet!
Now, I've talked with people about it on various message boards, and some claim that you don't really need to grind at all in these games to progress, But I definitely hit a brick wall where I felt I needed to go back and defeat even more enemies if I wanted to be powerful enough to progress. And this is the unfortunate experience I've had with multiple of Nippon Ichi's games. Now I gotta say it's for purely egotistical reasons that I want these games to be simpler. They've been doing these sorts of games for years and they've pretty much carved out a niche for themselves, which is full of fans who wouldn't have it any other way. So there's really no reason for them to start casualizing the games now. As I said earlier, Pucelle Tactics is a beautiful game and it seems like it has a really great story, which I kinda wish I could experience with all this gameplay getting in the way. But hey, as I said, that's just me. This is one game you can spend hundreds of hours with in order to master. And there's also a good ending which requires you to grind it out a lot in order to defeat some very powerful enemies. And if that is your cup of tea, do check out Pucelle Tactics.
Yes.
For now, I'm gonna keep bossing you around.
They're quite a pair, aren't they?
They certainly are.
But to tell the truth, I'm a little jealous of them. I don't have any family, or even a past to call my own.